Hey nerds, today I'll be going over all the new PDH commanders from Modern Horizons 3 and fun ranking them. Kicking things off, we have Amped Raptor. This is a 2-mana 2/1 creature dinosaur with first strike. When it ETBs, you get 2 energy. Then if you cast it from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card by paying an amount of energy equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. I don't know how much energy support there is just at common, especially in mono red, but I think this could be a fun commander. Get cheat creatures into play, which is pretty cool, or actually any non-land card, right? So even like burn spells, and it has to be, but you have to mill one that is, or exile one that is, you even have energy to pay for, otherwise it just stays exiled. So yeah, also notably, you have to cast this from your hand, so actually, I'm gonna put it under kind of fun. That might be a little bit too difficult to do with PDA. Next up is Annoyed Altasaur. This is a 7-mana 6/5 dinosaur with Reach, Trample, and Cascade. This was actually a common before, it just got upshifted to uncommon. And I love Cascade, I love Big Green. I'll put this under very fun. There are probably plenty of ways to get this back into your hand and keep recasting it, or just having a big cascading dinosaur commander. Next up is Arcbound Condor. This is a 4-mana 0/0 artifact creature bird with flying and modular 3. And whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, target creature opponent controls gets -1/-1 till end of turn. It's a modular commander in mono red, which I think is pretty neat. I don't know how fun that. I'm gonna put that in fun. I think it's like you could do like mono black artifacts maybe. That might be a thing. Next up is Bogart Trawler. This is a 3-mana 3/1 creature goblin. When it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. And on the back, it's a swamp that you can enter untapped if you pay 3 life. Not a swamp, it's a black source. However, you can't play the swamp from the command zone, which is unfortunate because command zone specifically says cast. So I don't think this is a fun commander. You just exile someone's graveyard. Next up is Breaker of Creation. This is an 8-mana 8/4 Eldrazi. When you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each colorless permanent you control, hexproof from each color, and Annihilator 2. I could see this as a fun commander. Each colorless permanent, so I think you gain life for your lands also, because lands are colorless. I don't know if they're colorless, they don't have a color. I think there's a distinction between them. But you get a bunch of life. It's Annihilator 2 and 8 mana. Plenty of cheap mana rocks in this format. That's not a problem. Next up is Copy Crook. This is a 4-mana 0/0 creature shapeshifter rogue. It enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except whenever this creature attacks, it connives. That could be a fun commander. I think more fun than mono black artifacts. You get a connive, it's card draw. It becomes any creature, so if it's just a common, it will be a common creature. Or someone else's commander that you really like or is in multicolors, you get to just become a copy of that, which is really neat. Next up is Cursed Wombat. This is a 2-mana 2/3 Nightmare Wombat. It has Adapt 2 for 2 black-green. Permanents you control have one or more +1/+1 counters are put on this permanent. You put an additional +1/+1 counter on it. This ability only triggers once each turn. So it's a hardened scales, but only once each turn, and it's permanents you control, so lands too, but I don't think that really matters. I love Golgari, so I'm gonna put this at very fun. It's a hardened scales in the command zone, although I think we have better ones. There's also a Wombat, which is cute. Next up is Depth Defiler. This is a 5-mana 3/5 Eldrazi with the Void, kicker for 1 colorless. When you cast a spell, if it was kicked, choose both instead of 1. Return target creature card to its owner's hand. Target player draws 2 cards and discards a card. So when you cast a spell, so you can't return it to its hand because it's a cast trigger. However, you get to bounce a creature, and then you can draw 2 cards and discard a card, so loot. I think for 6 mana in the command zone, if you want to do like mono blue Eldrazi, I feel like that might be fun. I'm putting kind of fun though. Next up is Disciple of Freyalise. This is a 6-mana 3/3 creature elf druid. When it enters the battlefield, you may sack another creature. If you do, gain X life, draw X cards, where X is that creature's power. And then on the back is a land, but the land doesn't really matter because you can't play it from the command zone. And I'm not going to be saying that for the rest of this video. There are a few more that have this. However, as a PDH commander, I think that could be maybe the tail end of very fun. It's mono green big stuff, and you get to draw a bunch of cards, gain a bunch of life. So yeah, I like that. Next up is Drowner of Truth. This is a 7-mana 7/6 Eldrazi, devoid. It has no color. Its color identity, though, is Simic. When you cast a spell, if colorless was spent to cast it, you create 2 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens. With sack this creature, add a colorless. In the back's the land. I think this is actually pretty cool if you want to do like Simic Eldrazi. I'll put that, I think, here. A lot of the Eldrazi I think will actually be really neat in Pauper EDH because we haven't had a ton of, I think, interesting Eldrazi options, and now we do. Next up is Eldrazi Ravager. This is a 6-mana 6/6 Eldrazi with Annihilator 1. Sack 2 Eldrazi, return this card from your graveyard to your hand, and you can cycle it. Cycling doesn't really matter here. However, you can skip the command tax by stacking 2 Eldrazi and just putting it back in your hand. So that's neat. I'll put this under kind of fun for the Eldrazi. It is just colorless, which is kind of a downside. But if you're looking for an Eldrazi commander, you could always play this. Next up is Emissary of Soulfire. It's a 3-mana 1/4 Djinn Monk. When it enters, you get 3 energy. Pay 2 energy, put an Exalted counter on target creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. So this seems very fun. You gotta just keep putting, if you can do blue-white energy and get enough energy, and you can just start putting Exalted counters on creatures you control. You don't have to tap this, you don't need, it's summoning sick, it doesn't matter. Or you just blink, right? You're running a small blink package for this thing. Keep blinking it to get more and more energy. Seems solid. Next up is Emrakul's Messenger, a 2-mana 2/1 Eldrazi Fairy Rogue with the Void and Flying. When you draw your second card each turn, you make a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token with sack this creature, add a colorless. So it's a draw 2 commander. Yeah, that also seems really fun. You can make what? 4 Eldrazi a turn cycle in blue. This comes out on turn 2. You probably can't draw anything for 0, which is unfortunate. But even if it comes out on turn 3 and you opt, there you go. And then you can brainstorm. Yeah, seems like really solid. Next up is Envoy of the Ancestors. It's a 3-mana 2/3 human cleric with Outlast for a white. So you pay a white, tap, put a counter on this creature, only the sorcery. And then modified creatures you control have lifelink. This seems, if you can do a mono white counters deck, this seems like this might be fun. I love lifelink. I like Outlast. It's a modified creature, so it doesn't even have to be counters, right? You could do with auras. Next up is Etched Slith. This is a 2-mana 1/1 artifact creature Phyrexian Slith with Menace, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. When you do, you may remove a counter from another target permanent or opponent. This seems solid. Put it here. It comes down early, it has Menace, it keeps growing, and then you keep removing counters from things when it deals combat damage. Mono black Voltron anyone? And it's an artifact creature. So if you like a modular sub-theme, would be really good here. Next up is Ethereum Terramander. It's a 1-mana 1/1 Salamander Drake artifact creature with flying. It can only block creatures with flying. However, it has Adapt 4 that is essentially affinity for artifacts. So it's 6 and a black, but it costs 1 less to cast for each other artifact you control. So it doesn't count itself, which is why it's not technically affinity. However, it is just easy to get this to 1 black and make this into a 5/5 flyer, and it's a 1-mana commander. This seems solid. I'll put that, I think, here. Yeah, I'll put that right in the middle of fun. Next up is Fledgling the Dragon. This is a 4-mana 2/2 creature dragon with flying and threshold. As long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, Fledgling Dragon gets +3/+3 and has fire breathing. So you pay a red, it gets +1/+0 till end of turn. This card used to be a rare back in Legions. It's been a minute. However, as a mono red dragon commander, I think it's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and put this, if I can find its picture. It's somewhere. Here it is. I don't know if I want to put this at not fun. I'll put this at pellet of kind of fun. Next up is Frogmere Enforcer. So it's a Mirror Enforcer. It's 7 mana, 4/4 affinity for artifacts. And it has Prototype for 3 and a red. And it's a 2/2. So you have a Mirror Enforcer, a red Mirror Enforcer as a commander. That seems kind of fun. I don't know what you do with it in mono red. I guess you could Shrapnel Blast it. If you have ways of just repeatedly... Actually, I'm talking myself into it. Yeah, because it has affinity for artifacts, if you can keep sacrificing it for either treasure or ways to get treasure and getting other artifacts in, I think this could be a really good combo commander, weirdly enough. Next up is Furnace Hellkite. This is a 7-mana 5/5 artifact creature dragon, affinity for artifacts, that is flying. It's pay 1 red and it gets +1/+0 or fire breathing. So this is easily a double red 5/5 commander. You could probably get this out on turn 3 pretty regularly. And it's just a big beater. I think Frogmere Enforcer is a little bit more interesting because you can pay for the entire 7 mana with artifacts, or the entire command tax, versus this where you still have to pay double red. So its combo potential seems a little bit more limited. So I'm going to put that in kind of fun. Next up is Glaring Fleshraker. 3 mana 2/2 Eldrazi Drone. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you make an Eldrazi spawn. And whenever another colorless creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. This seems very fun, right? It's a colorless commander. Whenever you cast colorless spells, you get an Eldrazi which deals damage, and then that creature, presumably that colorless creature that enters, that you just cast, and it deals another damage. Seems really good. Next up is Glyph Elemental. It's a 2 mana 2/2 enchantment creature with Bestow. So you can cast this for its Bestow cost, and it's an aura with an enchant creature. It becomes a creature again if it's not attached. It's bestow for 1 and a white, has a landfall. Landfall, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then the enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Each +1/+1 counter. This is like you build this like a mono white lands deck, I guess. I don't think there's a ton of ways in white to cheat lands into play. Oh, this is cool because if you enchant like a 1-drop with it, and the 1-drop dies, you still get your commander into play. You still have to pay the command tax even if you're bestowing it, because it's still casting the card for its cost. However, I think that's pretty neat. So I'll put it like here. Next up is Golden Trainer. The 3-mana 1/3 creature Fox Samurai. Or an equipment spells you cast costs X less to cast, where X is Trainer's power. Whenever it attacks, other modified creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is its power. So this is immediately reduces the cost of auras by 1. You put in all that glitters on this, an ethereal armor. This thing gets out of hand real quick. So that seems very fun to me. We'll put it like up there. So this is definitely a Voltron commander. Thankfully in white and green, there are plenty of ways to easily protect this commander. Next up is Grim Servant. This is a 4-mana 3/2 zombie warlock with menace. When an ETB, search your library for a card with mana value less than or equal to your devotion to black. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, you lose 3 life. This card seems insane, especially in a combo deck. You could just play this and tutor up like Gary, and the next turn just play Gary. I don't know why you wouldn't do that usually. And I'm sure there's some common combos that we could find for this. That seems real fun. We'll put that like there. Next up is Guardian of the Forgotten. 4-mana 4/4 Elephant Warrior with Vigilance. Whenever a modified creature you control dies, manifest the top card of your library. So if you're a mono-white modified commander, this is kind of card advantage because you get a 2/2. You're not always going to turn it face up. However, you can sometimes, which is great if it's a creature. Otherwise, it's just kind of giving you weird card advantage. I'll put that at the tail end of fun. Next up is Hope Enderquaddle. It's a 3-mana 2/2 Eldrazi Snake with the Void and Flash. When you cast a spell, counter target spell an opponent controls unless they pay 1, and it has flying. So it's not Mana Leak, and not a Spell Pierce. I don't remember what counter spells pay 1. Is it Mana Leak? No, it's not. Anyways, point is, it's a counter spell in the command zone, and I don't think that's really fun. So we're going to put that there. Because you have to cast it. You can't, blink it. Next up is Horrid Shadow Spinner. 3-mana 2/3 creature horror with lifelink. When it attacks, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard that many cards. See, this is what I'm talking about. I think I want to build that. So it's like a mono-black Voltron commander, almost, where you can draw 2 cards, 3 cards. If you can pump this thing up and protect it, you can draw a ton of cards. And it is lifelink, which is really nice. Next up is Hydro Trainer. 2-mana 1/1 Human Warrior. You may exert it when it attacks. When you do, target creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of counters on permanents you control. And then you can adapt it for 2 and a green, and it's adapt 2. This seems fine. I'm not that interested in exerting my commander, frankly. Yeah, I think they're more interesting and more fun mono green commanders. Next up is Hydroelectric Specimen. This is a 3-mana 1/4 with Weird with Flesh. When it enters the battlefield, you may change the target instant or sorcery spell with a single target to it. So if you want to change a pump spell to this, you can. I don't think you want to flesh this into target to have removal change targets, generally speaking. Yeah, I don't know what you do with this. I'll put it here. There might be some busted thing that I'm not thinking about, so if there is, definitely let me know in the comments, but I'm not that interested in this commander. Next up is Indebted Spirit. It's a 1-mana 1/1 enchantment creature spirit with bestow 2 and a white. Afterlife 1, enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has Afterlife 1. So you bestow a creature, it dies, you get a 1/1. This then comes into play as a creature. It doesn't come into play, it just becomes a creature. And then this dies, and then it gets Afterlife, then you get another 1/1. Seems like a solid card. I'm going to put it in kind of fun. I don't think you necessarily want this as your commander. You can if you want to do maybe a Spirits deck. It's a cool card though, and I love that art. Next up is It That Heralds the End. This is a 2-mana 2/2 Eldrazi Drone. Colorless spells you cast with mana value 7 or greater cost 1 less to cast. And other colorless creature spells you control get +1/+1. Other colorless creatures you control, rather. So another colorless commander, it's a Lord, and it reduces the cost. Probably want to play this on turn 5, and then a 7-drop on turn 6. And it's a Lord for all your spawns. I think that's kind of fun. I'll put that there. Next up is Junk Diver. 3-mana 1/1 artifact creature bird with flying. When it dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Originally a rare in Urza's Destiny and in the commander decks. And we finally have it at uncommon, which is actually insane because this goes infinite with a ham sandwich. We have Ashnod's Altar and Mirror Retriever in the format. This is a really easy way to go infinite with just those 2 cards. I think it's Mirror Retriever and Junk Diver. And I don't think Scrap Trawler is a common yet. There are plenty of ways to go infinite with this bad boy, or what is it, very fun. Next up is Marionette Apprentice. 2 mana 1/2 with Fabricate 1. So when it enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, or you make a servo. Whenever another artifact or creature you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses a life. Mono Black Aristocrats. Seems solidly fun. Put it like right here. Next up is Metastatic Evangel. It's a 2 mana 3/1 Phyrexian Human Cleric. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you proliferate. So if you want to do a mono-white energy deck, this might be a good option for that. You want to do mono-white counters, another good option. I don't think you can do mono-white infect, unfortunately. It does have to be a non-token creature, although you can blink stuff, so that's really easy to do. I'm going to put that in the tail end of fun. Next up is Mogmob. It's a 3 mana 3/3 goblin. Sack it, it deals 3 damage, divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Could build this as a goblin commander. I don't know why you would want to. I think it's a kind of fun commander. Seems a little cute, but I'm not that into it. Next up is Ondu Knotmaster. 4 mana 2/2 core rogue with an adventure. So the sorcery is you throw a line for a white and a black, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures, and then there's lifelink. Whenever another modified creature you control dies, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Black-white aristocrats, or counters aristocrats, I guess. This is a weird looking one. However, I am kind of interested in it, so I think we're going to put it up there for now. Next up is Pinnacle Monk. 5 mana 2/2 with prowess. When it enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Seems fine. I'll put it in kind of fun. Mono red spells, and you gotta get maybe a ritual back or something. Seems pretty good. Next up is Priest of Titania. It's an elf druid. The 1/1, you tap it to add a green for each elf on the battlefield. So if your opponents have elves, you also get mana for them. First time being printed at uncommon instead of common, which is really good. Yeah, elf ball seems solid. I don't know if I want to build it. I'll put it up here. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna move the Azorius Commander up there. Next up is Propagator Drone. 2 mana 2/2 devoid. Creature tokens you have evolve. Creature tokens you control have evolve. Green or green, make a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn creature token. So if you can play bigger creatures than your tokens, which will be easy to do, especially if you're Eldrazi, keep growing all your tokens, which is actually seems sick. We're gonna put that up here, maybe here. Actually, I think I kind of want to try building this mono green token deck that is all about like evolving your tokens. Next up is Proud Pack Rhino. 3 mana 3/3 Rhino. Enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on target permanent, or proliferate. Seems solid. Solid blink commander. We'll put that like here. If you keep blinking it, you can keep putting shield counters on permanents, including your lands. Not that land destruction is that common, but just a thing you could do. Next up is Reckless Pyro Surfer. 2 mana 2/2 2/2 human scout with haste. Landfall. Reckless Pyro Surfer gets battle cry till end of turn. So whenever it attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0. So it's a pretty cheap commander coming in at 2 mana. You could save all of your lands, so your Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanses, any of the Streets of New Capenna lands. If you want to like save cracking all those to get a huge battle cry turn, you could. But I think it's just right above here. Next up is Reform. It's a 4 mana 0/1 creature worm. When it dies, you make a 3/3. Then when the 3/3 dies, you make a 6/6. And then when the 6/6 dies, you make a 9/9. This is the first time, again, this has been printed at uncommon, downshifted from rare. It is a 4 mana 0/1, but there are plenty of ways of easily killing this for like sacrifice effects. And then each time that it dies, it gets bigger and bigger. It is weak to bounce and exile, but there's not a ton of that in the format. So that's okay. I think I'll put this in fun. I'll put it like here, I think. Next up is Royal Cartographer. 2 mana 1/3 landfall. Merfolk Rogue with landfall, get an energy. Tap, pay 6 energy, draw 3 cards. If you're in mono blue, not a ton of ways to get extra lands. There are, not a ton. However, it is a mono blue energies commander, which seems pretty slick. And it's a payoff, right? Like you can easily just draw 3 cards and use this as a mono blue like draw engine. Next up is Shrieking Drake. 1 mana 1/1 flying. When it enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. So you can't play this on turn 1 because you'll play it and it'll bounce it back to your hand immediately. However, I'm sure there's some combo potential with this in Pauper EDH. Ornithopter comes to mind. You can return Ornithopter, or even like Mana War. There's going to be some way. Isn't Peregrine Drake common? So yeah, even this with Peregrine Drake probably works. Yeah, seems really good. We'll put that in, because it's combo potential, we'll put it like right here, I think. Yeah, that works. Right in and fun. Next up is Skittering Prosecutor, Precursor, and that's hard word. 3 mana 3/3 creature Eldrazi drone with the Void and Menace. Whenever you sack a non-token permanent, you make a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn. So mono red sacrifice. I think non-token permanent was any non-token permanent, right? So any lands that you tap to sacrifice also make you Eldrazi. That's pretty neat. And any artifacts like Synthesizer. That seems fun. I think that's gonna go. I think that goes the tail end of very fun. Just an interesting way to build it, right? Like you build like an artifact sack deck with it, and then ramp into more artifacts with the Scions. Next up is Spawn Gang Commander. A 5 mana 2/2 Eldrazi Goblin with the Void. When you cast a spell, you make 3/0/1 spawns. A 1 and a colorless. Back in Eldrazi. Spawn Ganger deals 2 damage to any target. So it's Thief Gang Commander, but you get Eldrazi spawns that ramp you instead. So this is effectively double red for a 2/2 that seems pretty good. I'll put that. I'll put it a little bit higher. I think I'll put it there. Next up is Territory Color. 4 mana 7/5 Eldrazi Devoid Reach Landfall. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature, you may reveal it, put it to your hand. If you don't put that card in your hand, you may put it into the graveyard. Seems really good. Landfall payoff, if you want to do mono greens lands. Card Advantage Engine. At 5 mana, that's not too bad. And you can put it into the graveyard if you don't want it, instead of on the bottom, which can be relevant sometimes. Honestly, that seems very fun. It's a good landfall commander. Next up is Titan's Vanguard. A 5 mana 5/5 Eldrazi with the Void. Whenever you cast a spell and whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control, and it has trample. See, this goes right up here. You want to build a colorless deck, this is what you want to do. So whenever you cast this, you'll put counters on all your colorless creatures, and then you can put a +1/+1 counter whenever it attacks again, including on itself, and it has trample. And you're in Gruul. You have access to even more Eldrazi. Next up is Trickster's Elk. 3 mana 3/3 enchantment Elk. Bestow for 1 and a green. The enchanted creature loses all abilities, and it's a green elk with base power toughness 3/3. So even when that creature gets removed, you get your elk back, which is nice. So you can enchant someone's commander, especially in the command zone for 1 and a green seems brutal, but it's still just kind of fun. So yeah, we'll put it like down there. Next up is Triton Wavebreaker. 1 mana 1/1 with Bestow for 1 and a blue. As long as it's a creature, it has prowess, and the enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has prowess. If you want to do mono blue prowess, you could do it. Delver seems like that might be good. Throw this on a flying creature, try to storm off in mono blue, but I think that's still kind of fun. I think it's neat, but I don't know how fun it is. Next up is Twisted Riddlekeeper. 8 mana 5/5 with a merge for 5, a colorless and a blue. It's an Eldrazi Sphinx. When you cast a spell, have up to 2 target permanents, put a stun counter on each of them, and it is flying. You can put stun counters on people's lands with this, which is insane. And the emerge cost, you can pretty easily get this on turn 4. Turn 4, I think. It seems really good. You need ways of returning this to your hand so you can keep recasting it. I'll put it at the tail end of fun. I think mostly because of emerge. So yeah. Next up is Volt Storm Angel. 5 mana 4/4 creature angel with flying. ETBs get 3 energy. Beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 2 energy. When you do, choose 1. It gains vigilance and lifelink till end of turn. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. This seems solid for an energy commander, so we're gonna put it up like here. It gives you energy. You can immediately buff your board, or you can wait and give it vigilance and lifelink on a flying body. Seems solid. You're in white, easy to blink. Next up is Wastegate Battle Mage. 2 mana 2/2 Eldrazi Wizard with Kicker for a green and or 1 and a blue. So if you kick it with its green, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. If it was kicked for 1 and a blue, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So it's a Simic Eldrazi commander. I think that's going to be kind of fun. No, I think I'm going to put that in not fun as a commander. No, I don't know. We're going to put it in not fun. It's removal in the command zone or like a bounce spell, but it doesn't do anything with Eldrazi where I'm like, oh yes, I want to play this over another uncommon Simic Eldrazi. Next up is Witch Enchanter. 4 mana 2/2 Human Warlock. Enters the battlefield. Destroy target artifact or enchantment opponent controls. Again, I'm not a huge fan of just removal in the command zone, so I'm going to just put it down there. You can blink it, so if you have a really oppressive artifact or enchantress deck in your meta, maybe you try this and start just blinking it to rip apart their board. Seems kind of mean though. Next up is Wumpus Aberration. 4 mana 6/6 creature Eldrazi Beast with the Void. When you cast a spell, if colorless wasn't spent to cast it, target opponent may put a creature card from their hand onto the battlefield. It is trample, and it's a 6/6. This seems like, I mean, it's a big beater. I'll put this in fun. Well, I think like the tail end of fun. You need to spend colorless in order to cast it, but it is a 6/6 with trample. I mean, also if someone has like no cards in hand or a creature-like deck, you can just not pay the colorless and it doesn't really matter. And then finally, we have Wormcoil Larva. 5 mana, 3/3 artifact creature Phyrexian Worm with Death Touch and Lifelink. And when it dies, you make a 1/2 black Phyrexian Worm artifact creature token with Death Touch and a 2/1 with Lifelink. See, that seems like a fun commander if you can reanimate it and keep cheating those into play. Also, I just love Wormcoil Engine, so that might be my bias speaking, but we're going to put that up there. And there you have it, and there's my PDH Commander Fun Ranking. Thanks for sticking along. Make sure to subscribe and give this video a like. And make sure to check out my other channel, Bathroom Brews MTG, for traditional EDH content. I have some PDH content over there, but this is a new channel I'm starting up to focus primarily on PDH. Alrighty, nerds, I'll see you next time.